Do you remember the show, The Twilight Zone? Everything looked normal. The houses, the families. And at the same time, something looked really off. Maybe it was a sound that didn't belong, a face that didn't match the voice, a world that looked really familiar, but still didn't make any sense. Living with a narcissist is like that. You think you're living in reality, but slowly the laws of emotional gravity stop working for you. What should bring you peace brings punishment. What should bring you comfort brings confusion. You're sick, then they're in a good mood. You're happy, and suddenly they're not speaking to you. You succeed, and somehow you've done something wrong. It's a world where love turns backward, where care becomes control, and kindness becomes a weapon. I've always said living with a narcissist is like living in the twilight zone, because one minute you're a cherished partner, and the next you're the enemy. You're awakened at 3 a.m., not by thunder, not by fear, but by a whisper. They might say to you, I had a dream that something happened to you. You just weren't okay. And you sit up, your heart's pounding, and you say, but I'm fine. And now you're the one that can't go back to sleep. And the next morning, when the light starts to filter through the blinds, they're up making coffee. Nothing's wrong, as if nothing happened. And then you're left to think, was that tenderness on their part, waking you up at 3 a.m.? Or was it something else? This is Annie's story, and I'm telling it for her. One night, Annie woke up to find Santino sitting on the edge of her bed, staring at her. He had his hand rested on his knee, and his eyes were unblinking. He said, I had a dream. You left me. She giggled nervously, and she said, I'm right here. But he did not smile at her. He reached out, touched her arm, and whispered, Don't you ever scare me like that again. The next day, he bought flowers for her, but by that same evening, he was accusing her of being distant. And that night, he refused to eat the dinner that she made for him. It was like living in some kind of endless, weird loop. One moment warm, the next moment cold, each day rewriting the other. And slowly, Annie stopped trusting her own senses. If he said the sky was green, she doubted her own eyes. If he claimed that she raised her voice to him, she'd replay that memory over and over again until she found evidence that he was right. That's not love. That's distortion. And the longer Annie stayed in that marriage, the more she disappeared into it. If you've ever lived through that, you know the confusion I'm talking about. You start to question what's real. You start to apologize for things that you never did. You feel like you're losing your mind, but you're not. You're losing bits and pieces of your reality, because when you live with a narcissist, truth itself becomes negotiable. They rewrite it, twist it, and hand it back to you wrapped in guilt. They say, I never said that, when you heard every word they said. They say you're too sensitive, when you're just in terrible pain. They say you imagined it when you're standing in the ruins of what actually happened. It's psychological sleight of hand, is the way I would describe it. It's not your weakness that kept you staying in that relationship. It was your belief in goodness and love and in reason. And that belief was used against you. So this one's for you, the one who lived in that twilight zone and found your way back. You learned to trust your eyes again. You learned to believe your memory and your instincts. You learned to believe your heart. You stepped out of the distortion into the daylight. You may still hear echoes, the whispers, the doubts, the dreams that wake you up, but they no longer own you. They do not. You're awake now. You see clearly, and you are not crazy. You were conditioned to live in their illusion, but not anymore. Now this is your story, and it's in color again, and you're writing every single page. I'm Keil Hackley, attorney, author of the book Undercurrent, and the host of the Are You Annie podcast. Annie's story reminds us that truth matters, especially the quiet truths, the ones that get so twisted in the dark. If this episode resonated with you, please share it, make a comment, or just tell your story or part of it in the comments. Because Annie's story started this podcast, but it's your story that keeps it going. It's your story that's so meaningful. And as always, you are stronger than you ever believed. You are a warrior against narcissistic abuse, and you are tenacious, and you're never going to give up on what's important to you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for showing up every time. And until next episode, promise me that you will take good care of yourself. Thank you again. And until next time, bye.